In the headlines, emergency services recover body of woman killed in accident after a vehicle goes over a cliff in Biosh. Canefield residents have their day at the polls after Urban Council chairman calls it a day, and further sensitization of CARICOM nationals on their rights within the context of free movement. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. First up, unconfirmed reports late Monday afternoon that a woman believed to be from Loda apparently died in an accident in the Biosh area. From what one resident told Channel 5 News, the woman may have died on Saturday and her body only discovered in the wreckage on Monday. We should tell you, though, that there is no official confirmation yet as to when the accident occurred or where the victim is from, as we have not received a report from the police. From what we have been told, the vehicle apparently left the road plunging down a cliff, killing the driver. One Biosh resident called Channel 5 News Monday afternoon to say that the Coast Guard was involved in the recovery effort, but having arrived there, our reporter and camera operator were unable to access the area where the vehicle came to rest. That area can only be accessed by boat. Other lead stories now. The people of Canefield went to the polls Monday with an aim of electing a new urban council. Julian Morris has more.
The campaign itself came to an end Sunday night. There were two separate teams going into Monday's urban council election. Michael Coppell, who topped the 2013 election with 187 votes, has contested again. He led a team comprising Michael Timothy, Joyce Dupie, Ingrid Abraham, and Maxime Powell. On the other team, you had Aline Wilson contesting for the first time. Stengel Carter, a past council member, threw his hat in the ring again this time. Also on the team, Jefferson McPherson and Alian Abel.
Maxime Powell topped the poll with 182. Michael Coppell 163. Joyce Dupie 161. Yours truly, Michael Timothy and Ingrid Abraham 152 each. We tied at 4th place each. And this is a team of 5 dedicated people, and we see one community, different colors, one people, and we feel for placing their confidence in us.
Okay, so the task remains now making sure that the people at the end don't say that their faith or confidence in you guys was misplaced. What are you going to do to honor that?
Repeat what you say.
How are you going to honor the people have basically put their faith, I guess, in you? Although we have to consider that we based on what we know, just under 200 people voted. So low voter turnout. Maybe I should ask you first why you think that so few people came out to vote today.
I don't know what is the reason why, but I must say to God be the glory. Great things he has done.
Amen.
We had a clean campaign. Our campaign was information, education, the way forward, where we are, where we came from, where we wish to go, what we intend to do. Our platform was a platform of truth and honesty. That is why I think all 5 of us was successful by the grace of God.
Okay, you all are not in any way intimidated by the task in front of you. You know all eyes going to be on you guys to perform.
Not at all. We will work with every individual, as our theme rightly say, different colors, one people. So our task now is to bring the people of Canefield, because none of us have a monopoly on ideas, so we have to work with the different institutions, we have to work with the different groups, we have to work with the people of Canefield to ensure progress and development come through.
Okay, talk a little bit about your team, the winning team, obviously, the skills that these guys, your team, really bringing to the table.
Well, I always knew that we would come forth with all 5 candidates. Maxime Powell is well known, a people's person, a hard worker. Michael Timothy, an honest and dedicated person. Joyce Dupie, a woman of worth and a woman of dignity. Ingrid Abraham, a woman of worth, a woman who believes in children and believes in community. And yours truly, Michael Coppell, a humble son of the soil who put people's interests first.
In other developments, the sensitization of CARICOM nationals on their rights regarding free movement within the region was taken a step further over the weekend. This as the CARICOM Secretariat hosted a travel sensitization workshop in Dominica on Friday. Dominica's Director of Trade says though there have been many delays in implementing the free movement of people across the region, CARICOM recognizes the benefits of doing so and is working to have travel standards implemented across the CARICOM member states.
The idea was and still is to allow CARICOM nationals freedom to travel into and within the jurisdiction of any member state without harassment and imposition of impediment. This was intended to foster a greater sense of community and to encourage greater intra-CARICOM tourism. The realization of its practical implementation has been different from one member state to the next.
An official with the CARICOM Secretariat highlighted that economic integration associated with the free movement of goods and services will help the CARICOM region compete on the global scale.
What the heads of government decided was that in order to be able to compete globally, in order for our CARICOM states, which are small, vulnerable, small island countries, to be able to compete with the other developed countries, we needed to ensure that there was greater level of economic growth, greater development, and greater levels of employment. In order to ensure that this happened, the treaty itself sets up what is called the CARICOM Single Market and Economy.
CARICOM nationals were advised to be aware of their rights as they travel across the region.
One is the right to an automatic stay of 6 months when they move from one member state to another. The other is that for certain categories of workers, they are able to move to other member states and work without a work permit. One is the right to social security benefits when they move to work in other member states. One of the legal rights is the right to be able to move hassle-free, which is without any sort of impediment, unless there are certain exceptions that the member state that you are moving to can invoke and say, because of these reasons, those persons should be denied entry to our member states.
Dominica joined the rest of the region in launching Caribbean Wellness Month over the weekend, and the country's Adventist community led the way in ensuring that Dominicans play their part in adopting healthy lifestyles.
Health coordinator of the East Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists told Channel 5 News Dominicans need to play their part in reversing the trend of chronic non-communicable diseases in the country.
We are emphasizing physical activity. So it's healthy eating and physical activity, two of the key components for both the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases. We will also be having lectures on the New Start. The New Start is 8 acronym that represents 8 health principles for healthy living: nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. These are principles that, when adhered to, can help to prevent diseases and help people to stay well and to stay healthy.
The Health Expo took place at Lindo Park and was held under the theme, A Healthier You, A Better You.
We are promoting abundant life, as Jesus said in John 10:10, I am come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. So this Health Expo today is under the theme, A Healthier You, A Better You. And the Caribbean Wellness Day theme is love that body, love your body, glow through the years. Glow through the years is the theme for Dominica, but throughout the Caribbean, it is emphasizing living healthy in a healthy environment.
Young people were exposed to the best writers of the Caribbean and introduced to the many careers that were open to them in the fields of writing and publishing on Sunday.
Guest speaker Lennox Honeychurch, addressing the 9th edition of the Literary Festival, discussed the combination of the works and life of 2 Dominican authors, Jean Rhys and Phyllis Chandolfrey.
And she goes on to talk about the passion lovers of islands take their flag prospecting, and you work, you strive, you seek, you aspire, and then you turn back and termites occupy your dwellings. And the whole flavor of that poem is so representative of Dominica, of people who put all their passion and their love into the island, and then at the end of it they wonder, you know, what the island has been so powerful.
He explained that both authors grew up with books in their everyday surroundings as a vital aspect of their success.
Phyllis Allfrey's grandfather was the famous Dr. Henry Nichols, Henry Alfred Nichols, and that's why we have Alfred Ward at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Why they didn't call it the Nichols Ward or the Henry Ward, I don't know, but Henry Alfred Nichols, and because he was such an important contributor to the beginning of Dominican healthcare, his name is at the Alfred Ward. But he also had an amazing collection of books, which he had inherited from Dr. Imrie, who's the guy with the beard up on top there. And Dr. Imrie is really the founder of Dominica. Post-emancipation, he founded the system of healthcare in Dominica.
Coming up, what's being done to address school dropout issues? Thanks for staying with us. In an effort to address a serious ongoing situation present in several schools here, a number of new programs have been introduced by the Ministry of Education.
One of these programs is a school dropout study which will receive attention during this academic year. It'll be facilitated by consultant Gloria Shillingford. Shillingford continues to study the issue of school dropout so that the Ministry of Education can implement the necessary intervention towards the decreasing or the decrease or eradication of this negative practice.
We have recognized for a very long time within the Ministry of Education that the issue of school dropout is one that has plagued the education system. While here in Dominica, the figure is still relatively low compared to our regional counterparts, we believe that one child dropping out of the school system is one too many. And so she has been mandated to carry out research and to make recommendations to the Ministry of Education, and within the upcoming months, we will expect those recommendations to come to the fore, and of course, we will dialogue with you as to the ways and means that we can address and arrest the problem that confront us.
The minister strongly believes that while our young people can be productive, circumstances drive them into behaviors that are not consistent with what society expects. The Chief Education Officer has also highlighted other programs which will continue to receive attention.
At the end of last school year, under the project, we conducted reading assessments in some of our schools. The results will be used to further guide the work that must be done. We will also continue working on the Child-Friendly Effective School Initiative. We have made strides, and after 5 years of implementation, we are beginning to see the effects of some of the practices in our schools. This year, we plan to do more in the area of disaster risk reduction. The process has actually started, and in a while, we will have a brief presentation from our UNDP consultant. We will also continue our public awareness as we seek to involve the community and develop relationships for the benefit of our children. The issue of school dropout will be given attention as Ms. Gloria Shillingford continues to study the issue so that we can implement the necessary interventions towards the decrease or eradication of such a negative practice. Our TVET CVQ program will continue to expand as we increase the CVQ offerings in some of our schools. We intend to introduce auto mechanics, cosmetology, and plumbing as CVQ offerings. We have been preparing for that under the just concluded Education Enhancement Project, and this year we will be engaging the students in those areas.
Assistant Chief Education Officer Dr. Jeffrey Blaise says it's critical to ensure that the delivery of education is of a high standard. Dr. Blaise's statement was made during a principal's meeting marking the start of the academic year.
Because in doing so, you ensure that whoever your board of directors, which is really the Ministry of Education, is satisfied that the input that is provided, human resource, financial resources, etc., is well utilized. And at the end of the day, your report card will show that you have delivered competently. And principals, please ensure that that is done.
Last week's meeting for principals focused in part on report card data analysis recommendations, both at primary and the secondary school level.
But I want to thank our principals, and I want to extend that thank you to our teachers who have been doing a tremendous job in delivering education. Certainly, like with everything else, we have to continue doing the work. The areas that we are challenged, and we have to ensure that we pay close attention to those areas. But by and large, I can safely say that our teachers are doing a tremendous job within the classroom.
Preparing the country's children for the efforts of climate change on agriculture is how one organization which looks after the welfare of children is ensuring the well-being of the youth. Andrea Louis explains.
The West Dominica Children's Federation is another of the institutions which caters to the well-being of children on island, and now, with the absence of Triathlon Caribbean, needs continued financing for its projects. In speaking to Channel 5 News, coordinator of the West Dominica Children's Federation says the institution is looking to tap into overseas-based funding to continue its projects.
Funding is one of the major challenges. Transportation will also be a challenge. But if we get funding for the project, then you can deal with all the problems that you would have. There's some organizations that operate in the Caribbean. For example, Canada operates a program in the Caribbean. Australia operates a program in the Caribbean. And even the Germans operate a program in the Caribbean. So apart from the local people that we can target, there's also external funding agencies and donor agencies that we can write to.
Food security is of utmost importance to the Federation, and with the influence of climate change, it is predicted that by 2050, the majority of countries around the world will not be able to feed their population.
We want to teach the children to grow stuff that's climate resilient and to take it forward in terms of providing for themselves and their families. So we will continue the program. We now have plenty equipment. We've chosen about 7 schools. We started with the citrus planting program. We gave them citrus trees, and we actually did the planting with them. This time we're looking to take it further in terms of letting them grow vegetables in small spaces, and even if they have a greenhouse or they don't.
Bearing the effects of climate change in mind, the Federation is also working with children on how they can stay safe during times of disaster when at an emergency shelter.
One of it is disaster risk reduction in the schools with the children, taking it from the angle of child protection. So it has a child protection component that teaches the children how to protect themselves against abusers whilst we're in recovery mode, especially in places like a shelter. Some of that which we have to go further with will cover the needs of a shelter in terms of providing proper facilities, like where the children bathe, where they change, where they congregate, and so on. All that will have to be built into the planning for the making of a shelter area.
The West Dominica Children's Federation covers the areas from Penville to Bagatelle, including the Roseau Valley and Bells.
That's news. Your sports highlights next. We begin with cricket, where Dominica's Lockhart Sebastian was endorsed as the replacement selector for Courtney Walsh, who recently left the post to coach the Bangladesh team. The announcement came at the WICB's meeting here on the weekend.
Today the board approved Lockhart Sebastian as the replacement selector for Ambassador the Honorable Courtney Walsh, who has gone on as the bowling coach for Bangladesh.
Sebastian told Channel 5 Sports it was an honor that the board would place their trust in him to be one of the selectors for the Windies. He says his job is to select the best cricketers to represent the team.
My job is to select the best people to represent West Indies. Obviously, I'm not a Jamaica selector or Windward selector. I'm a West Indies selector.
Still in Windies news, the WICB reported a surplus for the end of the year and plans to spend over $40 million in the coming year.
The board this year is forecasting a surplus for the year ended 30th September 2016. I'm not going to give you the number at this point in time. I know everybody wants to know. But what I can tell you is that we forecasted to spend in excess of $40 million next year in our program. We have 2 A-team tours planned in that, a couple of tours by our age group players, under 19s, and of course huge expenditure on our women's World Cup triumph in England, and of course our preparation to defend our 2020 title in 2018. So those are some of the programs that we'll be spending on next year. The board also received a report from our Chief Executive Officer with respect to finalizing the completion of the purchase of the sticky wicket in Antigua with the government, which will become our new headquarters.
We move on to basketball, where a change in the tide during the fourth quarter gave the Police Sports Club that all-important come-from-behind victory as they defeated the Kelvadaru Hurricanes at the Bird's Nest in Pichlin on Saturday. Police trailed Hurricanes in the third quarter but finished their game on 55-52. Meantime, the match between Fashion Line Falcons and Fast Cash Prowlers will have to be replayed as rain forced the abandonment of play in Game 1 of the Premier Division Finals. The teams played up to the second quarter to reach 26-20 in favor of Falcons. That match will be rescheduled at a later date. In football, defending champions Dublin Football Club suffered their second defeat for the season as the DFA Flow Premier League continued over the weekend. DFA PRO Gerald George has more.
Friday, Middleham United handed Baffin State Football Club their first defeat for the season with a 2-0 victory at the Dublin playing field. Kimon Joseph and Marcellus Bowley scored for Middleham United. Dion Laura was named man of the match. On Sunday, the struggle continued for the defending champions Dublin Football Club as they went down by 1-0 to Petro Caribe Point Michel at the Dublin playing field. Marcellus Raffle scored in the first half for Point Michel. Dave Andrew was named man of the match, while at the Benjamin Park, Sajiko Southeast crushed RIC Kensborough 6-1. Jocelyn Prince and Randall Prince both found the back of the nets twice for Southeast, with Julia John Baptist and Kimon Coffey scoring one each. Maya Morancy got the lone goal for Kensborough. Jocelyn Prince was named man of the match.
The league continues on Tuesday with Caribbean Cool Harlem United taking on Middleham United at the Dublin playing field. On Wednesday, it will be Exodus Football Club versus Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers at Benjamin's Park. Both matches begin at 6 p.m. Next up, Minister for Sports Justina Charles says a number of playing fields around the island should get the much-needed lighting by the end of the year. Government, in collaboration with Dominica Lotteries Commission and the Solaris, made plans to get the project underway here.
In fact, we got photos of the equipment being placed on the ships en route to Dominica so that the work can start. In discussion with the Solaris people, they've given us the commitment as soon as, based on the time frame, as soon as the things arrive in Dominica, they themselves will come in, and because they have established their agents here to clear it and everything for them. So as soon as that is done, they will come on island and they will begin work. So we will be lighting 5 playing fields. I think that is Geneva, we have the one in La Plaine, we have in the Carib territory, we have one in, I think it's Vickers or somewhere, but the 5 playing fields are definitely done on the card to be lit before the end of the year.
She says after lighting the first 5, the rest will be given priority.
The government of Dominica, normally when we make a promise, we try our utmost to keep to that promise. So while we will do 5, but as soon as we complete the 5, then we will look at another, so we'll do it in phases. So we will look at some more until we have accomplished all of those that we set out to light.
That's all the sporting highlights for now. Do join us next time. Coming up, your weather forecast.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your weather. I'll be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock Correct. Quite a warm Monday we had today. Maximum temperatures pick up to 34 degrees Celsius at the Kinfield station. Let's move on now to some early infrared satellite imagery. A higher pressure system resulted in partly cloudy to cloudy skies across the Lesser Antilles today. Earlier visible satellite imagery showed some low-level clouds as well as some high-level clouds across the Lesser Antilles. Earlier radar imagery approximately 4 p.m. this afternoon indicated some scattered showers to the north and eastern portion of Dominica as well as the southern portion of the Lesser Antilles. Weak and stable conditions will produce fairly partly cloudy skies with scattered showers tonight as well as into tomorrow, with maximum temperatures expected to peak up to 32 degrees Celsius. Let's take a look now at the marine forecast. Sea conditions tomorrow will be slight to moderate and waves are expected to be up to 5 feet. What can we expect for the next 3 days? Tomorrow, Tuesday, fairly partly cloudy skies with scattered showers, and similar conditions can be expected for Wednesday. However, Thursday, an increase in moisture levels may produce an increase in cloudiness and possible thunderstorm activity. Maximum temperatures are expected to peak up to 32 degrees Celsius for the 3-day period. Let's take a look now at the weather for the rest of the Caribbean. Well, the northern portion of the Lesser Antilles can expect partly cloudy skies. The central portion, fairly partly cloudy skies with scattered showers, and the southern portion, some thunderstorm activity expected tomorrow. On the international scene, thunderstorm activity expected for the cities of Miami and Caracas, whereas beautiful sunny skies are anticipated for New York and London, and partly cloudy skies for Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:54 a.m. and will set at 6:08 p.m. Remember, we are in hurricane season. Feel free to visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, a recap of the headlines. Emergency services recover body of woman killed in accident after her vehicle goes off cliff in Bioche. Kinfield residents have their day at the polls after Urban Council Chairman calls it a day, and further sensitization of CARICOM nationals on their rights within the context of free movement. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Kenny Williams. To our viewers around the world, we thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.